Why are we here? Stay tuned. Damon Cart here from NLP Gym, bringing you cutting-edge NLP tools to help you create the life that you desire. If that sounds good to you, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Just real quick, there is only 1 week left for open enrollment to my online practitioner training. It's an NLP online practitioner training. If you want more information about that, I will put the link in the description and as a comment right down below. Check it out. Just recently, someone commented on one of my videos asking me if I could answer 2 questions. The first one is, why are we here? And the second one is, what is this life all about? I definitely have my own opinions about this. First, though, I want to say that that's not really what NLP does. But I will attempt to bridge that gap between NLP and purpose and meaning in life. Many NLP instructors try to do this, and a lot of the times they will write books on trying to bring the two together. I think it's really important to keep them separate and understand them separately. NLP is more about a how-to. If there's something you want, NLP is about how to go about doing that, how to figure out how to do that, how to create a strategy for doing that, how to find the internal resources to put you in the most resourceful state, the most abundant state, so that you can achieve what it is you want and have the life experience that you want to have. The more existential and philosophical questions, and maybe even religious questions about what is our purpose, why are we here on this planet, what is the whole meaning of existence, these are more, like I said, philosophical questions, and NLP doesn't really go into the philosophical realm that much. It's more of a methodology and a tool set or a skill set, as well as techniques and processes. And I like to think of it more as a technology, a mental technology for getting what it is that you want. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about that want and desire and how that might be connected to our overall meaning and purpose a little bit later in this video. There's some other points that I want to address first though. For about 99% of the population, we do need to feel like we have a purpose in life. We need to feel like our life has meaning. Meaning and purpose is so important to human beings, and Viktor Frankl illustrated that in his book, his classic self-help book, Man's Search for Meaning. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. And what he goes into in that book is that as long as you have a sense of meaning and purpose in life, you can pretty much endure almost anything. And for him, he was in a concentration camp, and he found happiness in a concentration camp, of all things. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, because he found meaning and purpose in his suffering. Now, that he didn't glorify suffering. I know some people philosophically or in certain religions, they really glorify suffering. I want to make that distinction that the glorification of suffering, in my opinion, is not a great thing. But if you are suffering, like not imposing suffering on yourself, but if you are suffering and you give that suffering some meaning or purpose, you will be able to endure that much easier and maybe even find a way to fulfillment and happiness in that suffering. The question is, though, is there an objective meaning and purpose to life? Is there something outside of ourselves? Maybe a supreme being, a God, we can think of it as the universe, that has a meaning and purpose for us, a single meaning and purpose for all life, outside of what we apply to it, or the meaning and purpose we may give our lives, or whatever we do in our lives, our behaviors, our activities, our pursuits. Is there an outside objective reason for everything? You will never know that. I will never know that. No one will ever know that. I don't care what religion or philosophy or guru says that they know it. All they know is what's in their own experience. So you can't possibly step outside of you and then grasp some sort of understanding about purpose and meaning. about yourself. You're always going to be contained in your own experience. So it's impossible to know or even speculate about what that really is. We can, well, of course we can speculate on it, and I have my speculations on it, and it's a fine thing to speculate on. However, let this go. Especially if it's troubling you, especially if it's taking up a lot of bandwidth in your thinking and your focus, let it go. You're never going to know the answer to it. We can go on and on speculating about mysteries and things about the universe that we will never know. Some things we can figure out, but this one's not going to be one of them, because there's a bunch of presuppositions about life and the world and intelligence that we don't really know to be true. We can make a lot of assumptions, but again, where do those assumptions and presuppositions come from? They come from within you. They come from within your contained experience. So to try to tap into whether or not there's actually a reason that we're here, is there a purpose to our life, is there a meaning to our lives? Again, you're never going to know what that is. So let go of it and turn your focus to something that I think is absolutely extraordinary, that we often overlook, especially when we're asking all these existential questions that we're never going to find the answer to. We overlook the amazing capacity that we have as creators of our own lives, as creators of our own experiences, and not just the creation of our sense of meaning and purpose, but we get to create our lives. We get to create experiences. It's almost as if the universe said, okay, you're never going to understand why you're alive. Here you are, you have this life, and you're never going to get it. Your brain can't handle that. Your brain can't handle the answer. You don't have that capacity. But you have, what capacity you do have is something even more extraordinary. And that is, you create your own world, you create your own universe. Now, some people would push back against that and say, no, I don't do that, and that's for New Age people, and that's for you NLP people. You think you can create your reality and your universe and your world. No, everybody creates their own reality, their own world, their own universe. If that weren't true, we all would be exactly the same. We're not. We're all unique. We all have our own individual experiences. And why do we have our own individual experiences? Because we create the meanings about our experiences. And those meanings are individual. No one else creates exactly the same meanings about your life, about your purpose, about your experiences than you do. And this is where NLP comes in. How you create your reality and all the meanings and the purpose of the experiences in your life and your own meaning and purpose, that NLP can break down and find the structure to. In fact, that's exactly what I teach in my online trainings, and of course when I do live workshops. What I'm teaching people is the structure of how you create your reality. And if you delve into that, that's magical. That's actually miraculous. And that's why in the beginning, NLP talked about magic. The first book is The Structure of Magic. So what might seem magical does have a structure to it. And in NLP, we find that structure, we elicit that structure. So you're never gonna know the answers to why you're here, what's the meaning of life, what's the purpose of life, but you can discover how you're creating that meaning for yourself, because we're doing it automatically. Even if you say, well, my life has no meaning, my life has no purpose, well, you could only say that as if you were comparing it to having a purpose and having a meaning. So they're connected. You can't escape this. And people are meaning-making machines. We make meaning of everything. And then you might even say, well, what about this, and this? That was purely meaningless. Well, you're judging that based on meaning. So if something is meaningless to you, which it might be meaningful to someone else, but if something is meaningless to you, or you're calling it meaningless, that's the meaning you're giving to it. So you can't escape it. When you learn NLP, you're learning how you structure meaning in your life, how you take behaviors and experiences and apply meanings to it. So you could change the behavior, or you can change the structure. And there's no better way one way or the other. You get to decide that. You get to have that choice. And again, that's what NLP is about. It's about having greater awareness of how you're creating your reality. And when you do that, you have choice about your reality. You have choice about your experiences. You have choice about your internal programs that are mostly unconscious, that you've been creating since you were born. And because they're mostly unconscious, they're running you. But when you bring them into consciousness, you bring them into your awareness, and you now have choice about them and you can change them, then you run the programs rather than the programs running you. This is extraordinary. This to me is more extraordinary than what is the purpose of life. If I could know the purpose of life or the meaning of life, first of all, I'll be honest, I don't think there really is some being out there saying, okay, I've got this reason to make everyone live, or I've got this reason to create life, and here you go, here's life. I really don't think that's how it works. What I do know and what I can access here in this life is my ability to create a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you're creating a reality. So I'm acknowledging my ability to do that, and I acknowledge everyone's ability to do that. It's so amazing. It actually kind of gives me goosebumps to think about it. What I love about NLP, the reason why I love studying it, the reason I love practicing it and teaching it, is because really what we're understanding here is how we create meaning and purpose in our own individual realities. So therefore, we are creators. Now let's get really good at creating life, creating our realities. If you're going to live this life, you might as well be a creator of it, a conscious creator of your own life and your own reality. And this is fun. Like this is the best thing in the world. This is what I would rather spend most of my time learning and understanding so that I can become a greater creator of my own life. And on top of that, I want to help other people do the same thing, because this to me is so extraordinary. I love coaching people. I love teaching people for this same reason. I'm helping people understand their own structure of their own reality so that they can change it and so that they can become a creator. They can become this combination of a scientist and an artist as they create meaning, value, purpose in a life that becomes more and more fulfilling as you live it. If you're still focused on this question about what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? What is the meaning of life? My advice to you is to take that energy, that effort, that focus, that mental bandwidth, and move it to something more useful. You're never going to know the answer to those questions, or you're never going to know the answers to those questions. So you might as well focus on understanding how you're creating your reality, your universe, and how you feel more purposeful and meaningful in your life. Because for a lot of people, this seems to come and go. Sometimes they feel meaningful and purposeful, and sometimes they don't. It's not that it's this elusive thing that keeps flowing in and out. There is a definite structure to this, and you can learn what that structure is, and you can feel fulfilled, purposeful, and meaningful nearly constantly if you want. And you can do that by learning NLP. So put your attention and your effort in the area of what you do have access to, what you can understand, and what you can create. And you can create a meaningful and purposeful life. And when you do that, you won't even bother with these existential questions. They won't even get your attention anymore, because you just know this. It's just not something you're going to know. And even if you could know it, it's not going to make you feel any better. It's really not going to make you feel any more meaningful and purposeful. That's really up to you. Check out my website, nlp-gym.com. There you will find some free NLP training, as well as some free hypnotic inductions. You can get immediate access to those. Download it to your phone, your computer, or your tablet and get access to it right away. As I mentioned before, there's 1 week left of my open enrollment to get into my online practitioner training. The link is down below, both in the comments and the description. Click on that and check it out. If you want real-time updates on whatever it is that I'm doing, check out my NLP Gym Facebook page. I usually post anything that's new that I'm working on or that's coming up. If you like this video, please click like right down here and leave a comment, ask a question. I will follow up with you. Last but not least, if you haven't already, please click subscribe. Take care.